Hey guys, what's going on? So today I'm doing a kind of an interesting video that I wanted to do for a little while, and we're getting into a van life season, springtime, it's starting to get going. I wanted to do a comparison, 3 different things on getting into van life, or if you're thinking about getting into van life and you're on the fence about it, and really where do you start with it? Well, I'm gonna go over 3 different options with you today, and that is doing a DIY build, or hiring a professional builder to do your build for you, or buying a van that's already built out in a used condition. Let's get going with all that right now. All right, if you guys are new to my page, consider subscribing and obviously throwing a thumbs up on this video. What I do here is I live in my van Ghost, which I'm only gonna have for like another 45 days or so. So if you're watching this video after mid-April to end April 2019, I'm not going to be in this van anymore. I'm actually doing another build, and I'm going to document the entire thing from beginning to end, and I'm going to show you along the way from even buying the van itself. I've also started doing live streams on Sundays at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you wanted to actually see me live, I usually do like a Q&A section there. I also give updates on really my new build that's happening or any other life things that may be happening, because I am a stand-up comedian and I am trying to get more involved with the stand-up community in 2019. That was enough about me, and now we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty. There's a lot to cover in this video, so I kind of want to slow it down a little bit because I do tend to talk a little too fast sometimes, and kind of go over all of my opinion in regards to those 3 items that I talked about, whether you're going to be doing a DIY build, hiring somebody, or you're buying an already built van. Lot to go over. This is just my opinion. You can do whatever you feel is necessary. I'm going to give you pros and cons to each one of those items, and hopefully you can make an educated decision on what you think is best for you, because that's really what's the most important here, is making yourself comfortable. Out of those 3, because of my experience that I have, I choose DIY build. I'm sitting in a DIY build right now. By the way, if you don't know what DIY is, you can probably Google it. You've already done that by now, but it's do it yourself. So I'm in a DIY build right now that I did with my father. Him and I worked together. We did it over a 3-month span, but really we only worked on weekends, so condensed, that's down to like 17, 18 days we built this van. Took me roughly 4 to 5 months of research on how to do certain things in the van, what products I wanted to use, what layout I wanted to go with. Was this van sustainable for a shower? How was I gonna do that? How am I gonna have the refrigerator? How am I gonna have the sink? What kind of solar am I gonna use? You have to kind of go through all that. And the reason I'm mentioning all that is because that is one of the cons, I would say, to doing a DIY build. You've got to put in the hours for this. If you don't have the patience, then you probably don't want to go into a DIY build. It is going to take a lot of time, and you don't need to be an expert. I do have a degree in architectural engineering, but I know plenty of other people that did their own builds. They don't have degrees in engineering, or they don't have degrees in design or architecture. There's plenty of those people that can do a build like this without any type of expertise whatsoever. I know people that have done DIY builds, and they, for the first time, picked up a hammer just so they could do these builds. I actually don't even know if I used a hammer in here. Power tools. The days of hammering are over. Anyways, if you're not prepared to do the amount of research that you need to do for what products you want to go with, and the design and the layout, and going and doing research on what van to get. All right, I'm gonna actually backtrack. Doing the research on what van you want is actually the first thing you do. Also high roof, low roof, all those things. If you want a gas or a diesel, what brand, Ford Transit, Ram ProMaster, Mercedes Sprinter, Nissan MV. A DIY build is pretty much you're getting an empty shell, and you have to know what kind of insulation you're going to be going with. The things that you can't see in this van right now, the underneath it. The most important thing, in my opinion, is electrical. So your solar and electrical setup. How are you going to do all that? Are you going to hire someone to do it? Even though it's a DIY build, and because you hire somebody doesn't mean it's not a DIY build anymore. If you want to hire a person that does electrical, I was very, very fortunate that my father was very experienced in electrical, and I trusted him doing all of my wires and running I ran my wires, but he did all the hookups. You can do your research. I know a lot of people say they went to YouTube University. They have a YouTube degree because there's a lot of how-to videos. Take some of those videos with a grain of salt because for me, in my personal opinion and from what I've seen, some people, some, not all, some don't have a clue what they're talking about when it comes to solar setups, and it irritates me to listen to them talk, but that is a different video for a different day. On my next build, I'm actually hiring a person that has a degree in renewable energy. He does this for a living, him and his wife actually together, and I can't wait to show off their expertise in this field because I think they're absolute gems. Going back to the DIY build, I already gave you a huge con to the situation. What is a pro of doing your own DIY build? You can design it the way that you want to do it. Can you do it with hiring a professional builder? Can you have your own design? Yeah, you're going to pay for it. When you're doing a DIY build, you can not only design a layout, you can change things on the fly. There are, I don't know, 47 things that I changed during my build. You can't see it, but I have a chalkboard right here. I didn't know what I was going to do there. I literally built out the whole van, and at the 11th hour, that's just a saying, at the 11th hour, I was like, all right, let's put a chalkboard in. And now I use it to write down notes or maybe my to-do list or a grocery list or something along those lines. It's actually really handy. So really when it comes down to a DIY build, it's like, do you want to put the time in on research? Do you want to put the effort in, the blood, sweat, and tears? Did I bleed more? Did I have a lot of sweat? Or did I cry? Because I did all three of those. I probably didn't cut myself that much at all, so blood was like 10%, and those other two were pretty much offsetting each other at 45% each. That's 100%, right? I can't begin to tell you how many times I was so irritated just in the build. If you go all the way back, I'll give you guys a little fun fact. If you go all the way back to my original build video, my very first video, I'll put a link up in the card right now. But if you go back to that, I forget where it is, but it's like going around the van, and right on my door, there's a mark on the insulation, and it is a blatant fist mark because I took a swing at it. So irritated at it. That's just I don't know if it's my Boston in me or just my Italian temper, whatever it is. I was so angry that day and I don't even know why. And I took a full-on swing at my insulation. It is what it is. Bada bing, bada boom. You know, you take a little hit, you know? My point is you're gonna go through those times when you are doing your own build. You're gonna have nights, you're gonna have days like that, you're gonna have sleepless days, you're gonna have headaches when you're looking over wiring diagrams, you're going to get so irritated on how you do this or where do you go here. It's going to happen if you're going to do a DIY build. It's inevitable. Some more things to go over on a DIY build. A lot of trips to Home Depot, a lot of trips to Lowe's, a lot of trips to the hardware store, whatever it may be, Ace. Get to know all the people there. You know, it's so funny that I told myself after I did this build that I would not do another one, and I'm about to start another build in like 2 months. What am I doing? But hey, I love what I do. Yeah, and I also want to show everybody that is considering a DIY build possibly on how to do things. So that's, you know, if you are considering doing a DIY build and you're not starting until June, hey, so am I. Boom. For me, like I said at the top of this video, I prefer doing a DIY build over the other two. I still stand by that. I do. I would rather do a DIY build. But again, I feel more of a fulfillment. That's actually, you know what? That is a huge pro. At the end of the day, when you're all said and done and you are done with the entire build, there is no better sense of fulfillment, of life achievement when you are done with this build. Other than, I don't know this because I've never had one, but other than having a child or getting engaged, I'm thinking it's right around that, like the feeling that you have inside, like I've completed this. It is an amazing feeling to have. Again, I just compared building a van to having a child. Did I really just do that? I don't have any children, but I can imagine, like, this is my baby, and I can't believe I'm selling my baby right now. That's so weird. Just like the sense of fulfillment and like everything about it on when the, you know, where the van was 3 months before to where I got to then, like there's such a good feeling in your head and your heart of look what I've done. This is my new home now, or this is my new adventure van, or whatever it may be. That alone is a huge, that's a huge pro for me. Hopefully it is for you too, if you decide to go the DIY route. If you have no interconnection like that, like how passionate I was just right then about it, then yeah, hire somebody. Who cares? Let's transition into hiring a professional builder, because man, hiring a professional builder I think is actually a really good way to go. Pretty much for every reason, every con in regards to the DIY build is a pro for hiring a professional builder. You don't have to worry about anything. They have the schedule. You know when it's going to be done. Like, they're going to be taking all the trips to the hardware store. Yeah, it is a little pricey. Do you have that kind of money? I'm not sure. Are there ways to get that money? You bet your buns there is. Of course you can get a loan for any of this. So all of the stress that you have on yourself, you can now put that on to a professional builder, and usually they have a team. I've been asked several times to do a build, and my response to that always is no. Like, that's just my immediate response is no, thank you. I appreciate the gesture. The reason I say no is because I don't have a freaking team with me. I'm gonna need an electrician. I'm gonna need, maybe a welder. I'm going to need certain aspects of the build that I want to have a solid team and a solid foundation. There's other really good individual builders out there that have other people that work with them to build these awesome, cool, adventure rigs or tiny home on wheels that work. I've actually shown a couple recently in other videos. I think it was SD Camper Vans and LA Van Outfitters, which is actually really interesting because SD Camper Vans has like an entire team working around the clock, which is around like 9 to 5, building out these awesome, cool vans. And LA Van Outfitters is pretty much a one-man wrecking crew. He might have other people helping him out. SD Camper Vans can pull off your build in like a month, and LA Van Outfitters, I'm not sure how long he does it, but if I had to guesstimate, 60 days, maybe 90 at the most. I know another person down in San Diego, I think they do one van every 3 months or 2.5 months. So you guys kind of do your own judgment on who you want to go with. And also, by the way, when you look for professional builder, please read the reviews. Please ask every question under the sun. Ask them everything. Your products are going to be your choice, and I'm sure that, I don't know this for certain, but I'm sure that most of the professional builders have an extreme consultation and a very good communication with the client. That is just my assumption, and I pray that I'm correct on this, because you want an open dialogue with whoever you're hiring to build this, tiny home on wheels. Hiring a professional builder, if you were to buy a house and you wanted to renovate the kitchen, which is not out of the ordinary. People do this all the time when they buy houses. But when you renovate a kitchen, you shop around to all the different contractors that you're going to use. I would hope that you do a severe homework. There's even like websites on who you can find for the best contractor for kitchen renovations, or patio renovations, or whatever it may be. Why would you not do that when building a van? You want to do your homework. You want to read reviews on them. You want to read testimonials on them. You want to find out who else has gotten builds from them, what their warranty is. Do your due diligence if you're going to be getting a professional builder to do it. Sally or Joe or whoever you go with is going to feel right for you to build your tiny home on wheels or your adventure rig, whichever one. I told you there was a lot to fit into this video, and I just don't know if I'm going to get it all in there, so I'm hoping I'm covering all my bases here. Lastly, I want to go over buying an already built van. For example, the girl that's buying my van, she's buying it. She didn't want to do a DIY build, and she didn't want to hire a professional builder. She bought already a built van. Just so convenient. Literally, you can be not in a van one day and in a van the next day. So I would say it's definitely the easiest. I would suggest hiring a mechanic for the day, or if you have any mechanic friends, bring them out and just have them look over mechanically how the van is running. If you buy a used, doesn't matter, you want to make sure it doesn't break down. So I'm no mechanic, but I'm going to find a mechanic and have them come out to property with me or come out to location with me to look at the van and say, hey, is this thing going to crap out of me in the next 2 years or year, whatever it may be? What do I need to do to it? Ask for all the records. The girl that's buying my van, she asked for all of my records for every oil change that I've done, any tune-up that I've done, any problems that I've done. My van only has got 25,000 miles on it, so really there's nothing there. But I did show her all the records. Asked those questions. She asked, and I was more than happy to give it to her. I had somebody else ask me the weight. I had this thing weighed at a weigh scale. Ask the weight of the van. That's important. For me, I think buying an already built van, that if you find something that suits your needs, yeah, you can't you can't pick the layout, or you can't, like, but really, like, you're in a space that's, you know, 72 square feet. Well, how many different layouts can you really go with? If she wanted a different product in here, or if you wanted a different product in a van that you really love, guess what? It's really not that difficult to change out products. You could change out an electrical system pretty easily. Even a hot water tank you can change out really easily. You can change out my entire kitchen if you need to. It's not that difficult to actually rip out a countertop and put a new one in. Like, all right, so I'm gonna try and end the video here because I'm gonna recap it all right now. You have a DIY, you have professional builder, and you have buying built out van, right? I'm gonna break it down price wise, and hopefully this will help. Across the board, you're gonna have to get a van regardless. So across the board, brand new vans, other than the one over here, which would be built out, brand new vans, you know, Ram ProMaster is the cheapest at around $35,000. Then the next up from there, I believe, is a Transit, right around 40, 42, 43. Sprinter two-wheel drive is around 45-ish. Sprinter 4x4 is 55 plus, maybe 60,000. Depending on size, and those are all depending on sizes, by the way. If you're going used van, they can be, you can range that. I'm not even gonna go into used prices. And then if you were to do a DIY build, it can be as low as 2,500, 2,000, whatever it is, but that's like minimal. I mean, I'll put it this way, my fridge alone was $1,000, so just keep that in mind. My electrical system alone was $3,000, might have been 3,500. I think it was 3,500. It was darn expensive. I just rambled off close to $5,000. I only named, well, like 5 products if you put all the electrical equipment together. So DIY build, it can be anywhere between 2,000 to all the way up to 20, 25, 30,000, depending on how crazy you want to get with the DIY build. A professional builder, I'll give an example, ST Camper Vans, because I just did their tour of their shop. I believe they start at 17,000 as bare bones, and they can go all the way up. I think they did a $45,000 build. The reason I use ST Camper Vans is because I do like them. I think they're great, and they do good quality work. They give a wide range, but they also do the builds for people that can't afford the $100,000 builds but want custom van. Well, there you go. ST Camper Vans, that's where they come in. You can find the people like LA Van Outfitters, Eddie. I did a quick tour of his van at one point. You can find those people. They're out there. Again, just make sure you ask those questions. I can't get into the pro builders enough. Just make sure you do your homework there. So DIY build costs that much. Pro builders cost this much. It's such a wide range of a built ready van. I won't tell you the selling price of my van, but I will tell you what I listed it for, which was $59,000. I will tell you I got darn close to that number. But the people I know that have sold vans, they've gotten really, really close to their numbers. I will tell you that firsthand. I know that for a fact. These vans are definitely worth it when you do buy them. I have 600 watts on the roof. Not a lot of people have over 500 watts on the roof, maybe even 400 watts of solar panels on the roof. What do you have for solar panels on the roof? What's your solar charge control? I'm pointing this because my solar charge control is in there. And how big is your inverter? How big is the battery bank? Are you using lithium, AGMs, or gels? How long have the batteries been used? All those batteries I just mentioned have a lifespan. So if you're buying a van that's 10 years old and they've never changed out the batteries, then you're probably gonna have to change all the batteries. You know, there's so much to keep in mind when it comes to all of this, because I can't stress this enough. Like I said, there was way more to go over in this video than I had time for, or that you guys wanted to hear me ramble on about. And then when you guys see my van build coming out in June, it's going to be, I hope. Imagine if it's not. Imagine if it's just crap. All right, guys. I will see you guys next time. I got a lot more videos coming out. I'm taking a tour of Illuminous. If you don't know what that is, Google them. I don't know really what else to do, so I'll see you guys next time. Later.